Multiversal Vikings. I had to record this video because I had an experience at the gym that needed my explanation more than just a series of texts to everyone I know. So I'm at the gym doing my thing. Get to the cable row, right? The row cable machine, and it's attached to like three other cable row machines. So it's like a pole with all the stuff, and then like you can row in each direction, right? So there's another guy to my right rowing. I look down and happen to notice he's wearing bedroom slippers, like my pandas, like bedroom slippers. And I think this is the funniest thing in the world. So I'm watching the guy, and I have attention issues. So I'm watching the guy, and I just think it's the funniest thing in the world. It's a relatively big built dude, and he's lifting in slippers, and that's fucking hilarious to me. So I had to make a comment. I get down for a set. Him and I are both like in between, and I go, "Hey man, dig the shoes." And this is where I always go wrong. Always go wrong. There's a reason that I am someone who very regularly has these interactions, and it's because I don't know when to keep my mouth shut, and I don't know who to not interact with, especially because I'm naturally curious. I'm looking for weird stuff around me all the time, and if you find it, that's not an indication to interact with it. On the contrary, not me. I'm like, oh, those are weird. Why is this guy at the gym wearing bedroom slippers? So, hey, dude, I dig the shoes, right? The guy looks at me and he goes, I'm homeless. I'm like, oh, it was inappropriate of me to make fun of this. You never know someone's situation. You never know if he's there because he's hungover, he's lazy, he's just so friggin' into the Iron Temple that he doesn't care what kind of shoes he's wearing. Or he could be a homeless guy that's still trying to stay healthy while he can't afford new shoes. So I'm feeling real guilty. Now I'm engaging with the guy because I feel bad. I was like, I can't remember my reaction now because so much happens after this. Um, like, damn, man. I'm sorry to hear it. At least you got badass shoes. So he laughs. He's jovial about it. I sit on the bench to start doing my thing, and he's like, "Yeah, I've been homeless for 9 days because of a sea of lies." Like, oh no. Well, I've insulted this guy, so I kind of feel like I have to semi-engage. Not to mention I'm stuck at this spot, so it is what it is. I was like, man, I'm sorry to hear that. The truth is the truth. Anybody that follows wrestling, yes, that was funny. Um, he goes, yeah, the truth is the truth. Lies are lies. Love is love. I'm just worried about the dragons. I'm like mid row. I'm like, what? He's like, I got to take care of two dragons. That's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about me. And I'm like, maybe his pets? Is he talking about his dogs or something? I can envision a situation where a little weird. You refer to your dogs as your dragons. I don't know. I'm stretching here, but I was like, yeah, you got to worry about them first, man. They count on us. And he goes, I don't know why. He just started talking about the multiverse after that. The Multiversal Viking. He says, yeah, no, there's different realities and permutations of myself. I come from a different one. I was in a different universe 9 days ago, and then I was unfortunately dragged into this one where I'm homeless. I was like, oh, this guy's having a coping issue. I really want to finish this set. Immediately starts explaining to me how people from different cultures are actually aliens, and the more advanced the species, the more advanced the aliens were when they came to Earth. Um, he refers to like tribal folks in like jungle environments. You know, the people that are like so removed from modern society that like they don't know what technology is. He refers to them as aliens. Uh, he explains that all the gods of all past religions are real. They are. This is going to start getting weird, and it's going to sound like there's no train of thought because there isn't. This is how this guy described it to me. He says, "Yeah, no, the gods like they're just software, and they're creating instances of us." I'm like, "Oh, this is one of those we're in a simulation, guys." Okay, well, this is a weird way to get there. I really, really hope I finish this set soon. He goes on to explain that Horus, the Egyptian deity in particular, has been screwing with him lately. And then he starts getting into how, like, Horus is the reason we have different sexualities. And I was like, oh, this guy's a bigot, too. Well, I don't feel bad for you anymore. And he just starts going to town about how Horus decided to change the program, and now people can, like, people can have different sexualities, the spectrum of sexuality. And I'm like, oh God, I don't know what to do at this point. And and he explains that like Horus is from the past and the future because time has no meaning. We're all experiencing everything at once. And I'm like, well, I've actually heard like scholarly folks talk about this. I really wish he'd stop. Oh man. And then he starts showing me his tattoos. I've stopped acknowledging him at this point. At this point, I realize I don't want to be in this situation anymore. I just want to get it in and leave. He's just talking. He's just talking. He starts showing me all his tattoos. He's got various tattoos. They're all different symbols from different historic cultures. The one that stuck out in my head was his right arm from like here down and up all the way into like his armpit were just like old Viking runes. And then he starts naming them and telling me about them and how like it's actually a cheat code. And he's been getting a lot of crap from Odin because Odin has a bet with Horus, and it's all because of this tattoo. A little bit of me at that moment was like, well, to save your skin, you better chop off that arm. And I realized, like, no, this dude's legit fucking nuts. I could turn around and this guy's like hacking off his arm. I'm not doing that. But man, it would have been fun to say. Oh gosh, I actually have to look at a message because so many things transpired in those like 5 minutes that I can't remember it all. Um, yeah, dragons are real. The multiverse, yeah, the multiverse thing. He really went into town about how, and again, these are concepts that I've heard from much less crazy sources, but on like a conceptual level, not like he's from a different reality 9 days ago, and before that, 10 years ago, he was forced into a new reality. um, Oh gosh. Then at one point again, there's no flow to this. He starts telling me about how he has to keep giving blood so they can make clones. I'm so excited that I'm giving myself a throat ache. Oh, that's right, the clones. So he is not a clone, or at least not the standard definition of the clone according to the program. There are a lot of clones of him, and that's why he's in this version of the universe because his clone here was taken away by mosquitoes. His clone here was taken away by mosquitoes. And all of a sudden, the program, specifically the one run by all the trickster gods, needed the template to make a new clone. So he's stuck here until they extract enough of his information to create another clone of him. And he doesn't know what's going to happen, and that's why he's worried. That's why we got to stop the mosquitoes. Yeah, at that point, I said, What about the mosquitoes? I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it. It was just so fucking weird. I needed to know what he meant by the mosquitoes. So the whole mythology behind vampires is actually it's a warning buffer to mosquitoes because vampires are really mosquitoes and they are a like the equivalent of an antivirus in the system. And you got to be careful. If you get too many mosquitoes to bite you, I don't know. I actually don't know where he went from there because then it would trail off into clone stuff and multiverse stuff and oh, then he just starts yelling gay slurs all over the place. To which I'm looking around like I'm not associated with this guy. This is a problem. I even like got mad at him. I'm like, dude, you can't say that kind of stuff. That's inappropriate, unacceptable, and bigoted. You would think that that began a confrontation, but no. Thankfully, and not thankfully, it did not begin a confrontation. It just immediately went into something else about a third of people. He's like, and that's why Thanos' plan was stupid. You can't get rid of half the universe. Everyone knows it's a third. Everything exists in systems of three, and that's why the vampires are here. Yeah. So this dude just does not have a grip with reality. There was more. There was so much more. But I'm struggling to remember it because it was massive sensory overload. Maybe I'll make a follow-up video when I remember, but oh man. I didn't even have to embellish any of this. Like, I know that I embellish my stories, but this was so balls to the wall nuts that I am downplaying how crazy this guy was. I'm reminded, I think it was like 3 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I bumped into a gentleman at the local coffee shop that believed the world is a honeycomb and the two alien species that created humans are in there fighting right now. And whoever wins is going to be the one to teach us that gravity is not real and there's a formula. Everything's a formula. He's like, and there's a formula to it. And once we know the formula, we don't need to follow gravity anymore. That dude was so much less crazy than Multiversal Viking today. And that dude was fucking nuts. I love it. I love it. This stuff happens to me all the time because I just can't keep my damn mouth shut. And I don't ever want to change.